I gotta go back to my room.
Y'all, we trying to get this live thing going. I wanted to start doing more lives, but it's very much a more than a notion. So they're testing out the live here. I know that it can be done without.
It's working out.
It's working. Awesome! Woohoo! It took a little time. Do I need to put it somewhere? Like,
Oop, my bad. All right,
okay,
there.
you got to do it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Merci beaucoup. You can hear it. Come see, come ça. Okay, awesome. Here we go. Y'all, I got the little spiffy stuff. I don't like it like this though. It's messing with my clothes. I do it like this.
Try it.
Okay. Okay. It's all looking funny on my clothes. How's that? You hear me? Okay. Anyway, yes. So I think we're good now. We're good now. Woo! I bought all this spiffy stuff and I got my little station identification put together for myself as High Priestess Maven, BMA platform. But I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm a community worker, y'all. I go more so out to our people and do things in the community. I'm trying to be more, I guess, faithful to the online process. But the equipment is interesting. It doesn't always work like you want it to, but you know, hey, let's go ahead and try this again. I hope everyone is well. I don't know if you heard that last live, honey. They had the mics going and all this other good stuff, and I bought my little stuff so I can get up to speed. But y'all know I always say I'm the little juju woman from around the way. Hello, hi everybody. Yes. Okay, so I understand you can hear me now. My last live was really, really a trial run, and it was out there. And I've done this before, but I bought a bunch of. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. You like these glasses, honey? They're a necessity because Mama is getting on up there, so she needs to have her reading glasses. But thank you for saying that. I don't know how much y'all heard on my last live because my last live was a test run. Let me just say this. This is High Priestess Maven. You're on the BM8 platform. I have been doing this for, ashe to you. I love that. You put the hearts there. This is High Priestess Maven. You're on the BM8 platform. And I've been doing this for a while, but I'm trying to come up with the new technology. And I bought all this equipment and all this stuff, because I said I want to do this more, reach out to my peeps. Thank you for all the love. I love it. And y'all know what? I'm all about love because look what I got. I'm into the snow globe things, y'all. I love snow globes. So let me send that back up to you. So I said I want to do more out here in on the World Wide Web. Is it still called that, y'all? I have almost 6 decades in the game, so I'm trying to get up with the young. Thank you. Yes, I found this in my travels. I'm a snow globe lady. I've always loved snow globes. This is a glitter globe, and it actually has hearts in there, y'all. And it says love because I love love. Can I say that? Oh, Asabi, I love it. I love it. Yes, please do. At least I'm on here, y'all, because I'm telling you, I do more work in the community. And they were like, you need to go live. I want to come see you live. Because when I'm talking to people, I'm always live, if you want to put it that way, out in the public. And it was like, do you have a channel? I'm like, yeah, I have a channel. But honestly, you all, my channel was mostly for the sister circle I'm a part of and the group I'm a part of. So a long time since, at least 16 years, we've been doing more stuff with my community, my inner circle, I should say. And now I want to go out more and speak to our popular culture, people out here out in the web. Thank you so much for all the love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now that I'm setting up, I went and bought all this stuff and lights and camera action, if you want to put it that way. I'm using my cell phone today. But you know what? I was like, okay, I got to get out here. And sometimes you feel intimidated. Oh, that's so sweet. Sometimes you feel intimidated because, you know, as an elder, if I want to put myself as an elder, you feel intimidated because it's like all this technology. And I feel I'm pretty techie, I think, you know, because I went to school actually for technologically advanced type of things. I'm gonna put it that way, higher learning. But it was not, it was in more so the late 80s and in the 90s, you know, for higher education. But I just feel like sometimes I feel intimidated by technology. That's why I have people help me. I'm sending you some love back. There's a lot of hearts going. So, you know, I feel intimidated by technology like the internet and stuff. So this is what, I don't know how much you heard on my last live because they were trying to get me set up with this new equipment. But because you couldn't hear me from what I understood. But I had a stalker. Y'all, I was trying to talk about that before. Thank you for all the love. I had a stalker, and this stalker had access to my own personal stuff. And it wasn't about my personal stuff per se, because I think I live a pretty boring life in many ways, if you want to put it that way. But it was more so I was worried about my business contacts and all my subscribers and people a part of my circle, the sister circle. I was thinking that they were going and see that type of stuff. And that was really worrying me. Oh my gosh, hope that person goes away. You know, thank you. Thank you so much. You know what's interesting? The person did not necessarily go away, but I have now implemented the cybersecurity that was necessary. I had professionals to help me with cybersecurity because I said I'm a part of you know, a platform, and I just don't want my people, again, the people that are a part of my platform, I didn't want anyone to see anything to do with them. But what they were saying is that it was mostly me. So I was so relieved, you know, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm from Chicago, so I grew up around a whole bunch of extra stuff going on, really. Not that I'm just some, you know, person that is, you know, can take care of that type of thing. If it is good, it does go down like that. But for the most part, you know, being from Chicago, I was always on the lookout, and you know, I feel like I'm pretty much, I'm fortified. You know, I feel like you know, I can handle myself per se. I wasn't necessarily worried like that. Also, I have, I'm put it this way, I am the only female, or I hate to say female because mal means bad in our old world language. I'm the only feminine in my home. I had a bunch of hard-leg boys that I love dearly, and then my hubby. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all, they from the heart of Chicago, although my youngest son grew up in the suburbs. But I'm gonna tell you, I was laughing one time. I was like, I was worried because I left my door open, my patio door open. And I was like, oh my God, I slept all night with my patio door open. I'm like, oh my God, I do not want these people to come here with all these ghetto men in here from Chicago. It's like, they do not need to come in this place on no nothing. So long story short, what's up from Miami? Hey, Miami. You know what's so great about Miami? I'm gonna get back to my story, but Miami, Liberty City. What's up, Miami, Liberty City? Go ahead, shout out to y'all. Miami is like, we say that's mommy, like mommy wata. So Miami, we call it Miami. Oh, wow. Where are you gonna go live tomorrow? When are you gonna go live tomorrow? You know what, that's a good question. I'm gonna go live tomorrow. Let me see, let me look at my calendar, y'all. That's why I got on here, because I can try to figure out. It's already May Day. May Day was, I'm going live tomorrow. Oh, the 4th. Okay, so I'm going live tomorrow. I'm gonna go for 8:30 Central Time. You want to reach me around 8:30 Central Time? Let me mark that down. 8:30 Central Time. Miami Wata. Let me put that down, because I kind of go with the flow with my lives lately. I got all my equipment. I was really trying to get, I'm so excited. I'm going live to between 8 to 8:30. Let me write that down. And I'm only saying 8 to 8:30 because I had something else before it. But I think if it goes over into 8:30 would definitely be the time I'm going to shoot for it. So hopefully you can make it there. Y'all, I'm good now. I got all my equipment together. I'm excited. Woohoo! Get in here, y'all. Get in here, y'all. Get in here. But yeah, so I just had to give a shout out to Miami, Wata. That's a whole other day. I want to talk about Miami Wata. I have to put my subjects down that I promised that I'll talk about, because I can shoot and talk about it later on. Miami Wata. Let's talk about Miami. Okay, thanks for stopping by, Miami. But back to my family and this cybersecurity issue that I had. I just know that I was never really afraid myself, like for myself and the folks that I run with and surround me. I don't worry about that part of it, but I just did not want any of my people that are part of my network to have their information leaked out. But what they told me at this cybersecurity professional company is that they wouldn't have their information, they have my information. So that's what they tapped into. So I wasn't necessarily worried about that. Again, everywhere I am, I run with, and I have a lot of security around me, so I wasn't worried about that. But a cyber attack happened to me. The stalker did not go away. Somebody mentioned that the stalker did not go away. But what happened is that I am now able to have my work and everything that I have secured. So a cybersecurity forum was able to help me with that. So I'm happy about that. So it was two things I was sharing before, because my live went kind of haywire. Oh, from London. Oh my goodness. From London. We have some people in here from London. Oh, well, all right. Welcome to you. I am amazed at that. I just didn't know where I was kind of going out to. So welcome everyone, but definitely London and Miami. Y'all shouting out where you're from. But yeah, my cyber attack is over. Everything's secure. It's been at least about 2-3 weeks and nothing has happened. And they said the person doesn't go away, but I just have to be secure. And two things that they said that they don't mind sharing with, that mind me sharing, because I had to clear what I would share because, they're a business. But two things they said that you can think in general, my cyber attack taught me, is that one thing is if you have an email address that you give out to the public, if you want to put it that way, or popular culture, if you want to put it that way, do not use that particular email address for anything that's secure of yours. That email address should strictly be for instance, I have online, platforms and such like that. Have a special email for that. And then other emails that you have for your business, for anything else, financial things, everything, that has to be a private email address. So, and then when you give times when you're live, which I just did, always make sure that you reset an email and even your passwords. And I think a lot of people know this already. So those are the two things. Reset your passwords continually on anything that you're using. And I think that's where I was able to be compromised. But it was none of my people, my peeps, my kinfolk that I, associate with. I did not have them, anything that is on the people that I associate with, any of the people who subscribe, none of your information was ever compromised. It's only my information, which I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who know this. You probably already know this. So I'm probably preaching to the choir. But in essence, I'm just glad to be back from that, y'all. So now I'm here. And it was right before I was getting ready to start. I went and purchased all this stuff. I'm like, okay, I want to go live. I'm doing a lot of community stuff. Mama's energy was, I only have so much energy. But, I said, if I go live and I start doing more stuff online, I'm going to start, rolling back a lot of my community activities. I work with the kids, mostly the youth. I love next gen. I love every, person that I work with, but the next generation, in other words, I call them the next gen. They are just amazing. You just saw one of my helpers, coming in with my equipment. They taught me how to get the equipment on. They were like, well, they call me Godmama. They're like, Godmama, you just need this and you can do this. They tell me all the stuff I need to do for lives and just being on platforms and stuff. Because I've been doing this for years, and I mentioned that. I'm not saying anyone's handle on here either. I just feel I just had a cyber attack, y'all. So I don't want to say anyone's handle. I'm gonna shout out, like you said, hi, especially from Miami and London. Oh, I just love y'all. But yeah, so, they teach me a lot of things about how to go live, how to get on here. They like, God, Mama, you can do this, you can do that. I love working with them. A lot of the college students, I'm a Oh, I love this love that's coming through. Every time somebody puts up a heart, I got to do this. I got to put this up here. I'm gonna give y'all some hearts back. Thank you so much. Oh wow, I love working with the college students a lot because they just, they're always helpful. I was on staff. I was on staff for Spelman for a little bit, and working in the dual degree engineering department. That's my background. Outside of I wear many hats, many tignons, if you want to put it that way. But I was working with a dual degree engineering program, and that's when I realized, that was like later in my career, and I was like, I need to continually work with the youth, and through the dual degree engineering program for Spelman. And it actually is for Atlanta University Center. So anyone who, a big shout out to those who might be a part of that. I'm so sorry. I need to go sleep now. I'm so sorry. Bye. Can I call you bestie? Oh, of course you can. Yes, you can, bestie. Well, sleep well. Wellness is important. Get your sleep. Get your rest. I'm so glad you came through. Try to reach out on tomorrow for a live at 8. All right, bestie. Absolutely, bestie. Sleep well. Pleasant dreams to you. And wonderful night visions. If you get any good ones, get up and get your journal out and put down some good stuff. That's my hope for you. Absolutely. Do 8 o'clock Central Time. And I'll do live 8 o'clock Central Time. I already wrote it down. So, because I got so much to share. And you know something, we'll talk about it more tomorrow. Let me put down what we're going to talk about. I want to talk about my cyber attack. Bye, love. Bye, love. Here we go. Let me send that up to you. I had to bring my hearts too, because people bringing out hearts. We're gonna do the heart thing. We're going to talk about this cyber attack and some things I learned about. Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad you'll be here. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. We're going to talk about this cyber attack and what y'all, because y'all know High Priestess just stands for I work with the spirit realm. Meaning now it's divine spirit, y'all. Now look at there. I always look at see what happens. It went from 11 to 9. When I say that it's the divine spirit, it's not about anything spooky pooky, y'all. We don't do spooky pooky here. I'm telling y'all, it's spiritual. Don't be caught up in this motion picture industry that it's real. We got to know what's fake and what's real. Okay. So when I talk about that, I'm talking about divine spiritual connections, things that are considered to be benevolent. So it's not anything that's evil, honestly. And we're down to 6. Okay, y'all, when I say that, I always have to be careful when I say that. But in essence, I just want to say that because this cyber attack I had, it kind of reminded me when malevolent spirits come through. And it's just wind, y'all. It's just air. The only time you have to be concerned about any type of a spirit, if you want to put it that way. And I can only talk about this because I am a high priestess, and that just means we work with things to do with the. I always lose people when I start talking about this, and I didn't even do my disclaimer. We do talk about if you're sensitive to any type of spiritual conversations or topics, we want to alert you beforehand and let you know beforehand that you would want to just probably exit. And then, when you feel that you can come back to some questions, and you want to talk about this at a later time, you can. I always lose people when I start talking about spiritual, topics. I start getting on spiritual topics, but I want to just share for those who might be ready. I still see 2 people here. Well, that's a good thing. But what I learned when I had this cyber attack, and it was an interesting experience because I work within, I gotta find another word for that in many ways, because I'm used to saying it because it's my life, it's what I've grown up with and known forever, and those who come before me. But now I know that it's sensitive for a lot of people to talk about spiritual topics. So in essence, I just want to say that it's not I know how to put it. It's not what you see on TV or in motion pictures. It's completely different when you're talking about being able to be a diviner. Something that is a topic that many people don't share much about in forums like this. Okay, So I want to I'm slowing down a bit so I can take my time and speak about this without causing any type of discomfort. Okay. But what happened is that I had this cyber attack, and it reminded me of how you have, this is really good, y'all. Now listen to me, because I wanted to take this from a motion picture aspect of what has to do with spiritual experiences. If you're sensitive to that, I'm going to go in a little deep with it. So I don't want to, want to know the future. Want to know the future. Well, someone put a comment about, no, I'm sorry. They're sending I got a message. Something said wanted to know the future. I'm talking about this subject, but let me go back to my train of thought. So in essence, what I would like what people to experience with this is that what my topic is talking about attacks from a spiritual perspective, or when you're a diviner, when you work in the community like I do as a high priestess. And what that just means is I work and help people who have had certain spiritual experiences. I help them to walk through it, get knowledge of it. I keep looking at it because I lose people when I start talking about this. But I don't want it to be spooky, but I know it's going to take some time. We're ushering in these topics as we move forward. But I want people to be able to decipher between what is fake and what is real. Okay, when we talk about divination, divining, I always like to tell people anything to do with spirit, divine spirit it's just like the wind. It's just like when you see the wind blowing through leaves in the trees. It can be a gentle breeze, or it can be something that's very has a high concentration of wind speed, and that's how it is with spiritual experiences. I like to say divine spiritual experiences for what I'm working with, but I'm going to be honest with you now. I don't want to make it too airy fairy. Sometimes working in things that are more malevolent. And that just means that these particular energies, and we can call them energies as well, entities and energies are interchangeable when we're talking about anything to do with the spirit realm. But this cyber attack that I had reminded me of how we deal with spiritual experiences. And if you see me writing here, I'm writing down what I'm talking about so that we can pick it up later on. Okay. Certain topics that I even turn into even lectures or future chats. But a cyber attack came my way, and people were this person or whatever. I had a stalker, and they were able to kind of get into some of my information. And it wasn't anyone on my platform or anything. From what these cyber professionals that help with cybersecurity, they said that they're not able to get into. Now, this particular person, the one that they were checking for me, wasn't able to get into anyone's information by being on my platform. It was mostly my information. And because they were considered to be a quote unquote stalker, which is different than just something doing like cyber mischief, they were a stalker of me, of actually me and what I was doing, trying to find out information about me, trying to tap into certain account information, but they were unsuccessful because I had other security set in place for that. But it was more so coming into some of my platforms. I had to shut down my Facebook platform completely. So if you're out there and you see High Priestess Maven on Facebook, that I'm not in that anymore. There was some things to try and get it back going, but I said I want to just kind of stick with other platforms. I actually had that platform together when I had my mystery schools, and I've since I'm no longer a part of that particular community to work the mystery schools on Facebook. I've already said my goodbyes and my well wishes, and sent them on their way. But as far as like the platforms that I'll be using moving forward, it has nothing to do with Facebook, so I won't be going back to Facebook. But that's kind of where this particular stalker was able to get into some information, do some fake accounts, and pretend as if they were a part of the community and were not. So it was a lot of things going on. So it was such a interesting experience that I just said, you know what, I'm going to just go forward with my other platforms that they had no information on, and then I'll be okay. I'm writing because I'm making notes of things I want to do as I speak. I have multiple thoughts at one time. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I can be talking about one subject and then the next subject can come in my mind. I write notes down. But anyway, I apologize for looking away. But in essence, I'm not going to be doing the Facebook thing anymore. So anyone who's going out there, I didn't even want to go back into that site after that experience, that cyber attack. Oh, somebody said bye. Oh, I'll be there tomorrow. Okay. So I just went ahead and just kind of shut that down. Now I'm just on regular, just YouTube, the BMA platform. And that's where I want to go live. I got a bunch of equipment to kind of get so many other things going on because I have so much to share. I want to share so many things with you all. And I've had some topics. I did an interview, High Priestess. I don't know how many of you saw that several weeks ago. I did interview High Priestess from live questions that I've had within the community, and I wanted to have people have their questions answered and be able to let them know things about myself as a high priestess, and not just me, others who walk in the position of high to be considered a high priestess or a high priest for that matter. But in essence, I want to stay on these particular platforms. I've found safety on this platform. I've also found that the people here tend to be a little bit more, I don't know, well, either way, I don't want to make it sound like, because I've had a lot of great people on Facebook too, but I just want to say YouTube seems to have been able to have more people who are interested, at least in the topics, other than, of course, the people that I had in the mystery schools. So since I don't have the mystery schools anymore, I said I'm going to be doing this. So here's my announcement. Let me ring the bell, because this has to do with lessons now. I no longer have the mystery schools that I was a part of. So now, as opposed to having it a small society, I want to now share with the world. And we just had someone from London, although I did have some international students in there as well, mostly South America. But I said, I feel that I want to do it justice as far as like speaking about subjects of spirituality, divine spirituality, walking within your own divine spiritual gifts. I felt that it would work best if I do this to the world now. We are in the Aquarian age, as they speak about, and I feel like so many people can come into the know about their own spiritual experiences and their ability to be able to tap into the spirit themselves of a divine nature. So I want to help people to no longer feel fear when they talk about anything to do with things that are not of this world, but still a part of our the spheres that we are in with now, the plane that we exist upon. There's supernatural and then there's natural. So I want people to get a better knowledge base of that. So that's why I want to start going publicly with more information and sharing. Take what you can, present questions, things of that nature within these forums. But I do want to make sure that this is known by the world and not just a small select group of people that I've worked with for so long. And I do love you all. I always get on here and talk about, shout out to my day ones. And I do really, really mean that I send a shout out to you. But in essence, I want to make sure that we are now opening these discussions up for everyone. It's nothing that I feel it shouldn't be, put it this way, it's nothing that I feel should be secret anymore, because so many people are, to me, a lot of people are very knowledgeable about things to do with spirituality, divine spirituality. And I've been watching different videos. I've been watching people that are just kind of interested in these type of discussions. And I see a lot of people are just really ready to hear things that are more so on the higher levels of knowledge when it comes to divine spirituality. So that's why many of us do not share within public forums, because we feel this, it's sacred secrets and private practices. But what I'm hearing people talking about now, I'm like, oh, okay. I hear people talking about their daydreams and night visions. And I can tell you that I feel like people are ready to hear the next level of information that I can share from the priest class, or the priest craft, it's also called. So I don't want to put people in the position of having to choose between, whether or not they're going to listen because they think it's going to be something that's traditionally put on motion picture forums and cartoons and comic books and things of that nature about spirituality. I think that had a lot of spookism in it that is not true to a lot of what we do as, divine spiritists. That is not what we do, y'all. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things that, like they say, sometimes they say truth is stranger than fiction. So I think that a lot of the ideas that are in motion pictures can kind of, go between the worlds with what is real that we do as spiritists, divine spiritists, as opposed to things that are not real. You'll see all these movies, and I see so many of them coming on now. I think it's because of what I do, and they kind of put more advertisements about spooky shows and things like that. But that's really not what we do. Even though it might seem spooky to other people when we talk about a high priestess and what it is that we do, and then all of the, I don't know, I hate to say negative speak because negative is scientific, and since I am considered a scientist both from from the natural world and the spiritual world, I don't want to say negative because we use it differently, but I will say wicked intent. How about that? There's a lot of wicked intent when it comes to sharing information from those who don't know about what we really do in the community. So the wicked intention to me has to be seen as that and only that, because it's not what we do. And usually when you want to know something, to me, you should go to the people that actually are a part of it. That's just how I look at it. So in essence, bringing it home, I want to make sure that people are knowledgeable about what it is that we actually do within this community. So be that as it may, I wanted to come through and at least, shout out to you all. I'm gonna have to take down that other video because I heard you could not hear me on that one. As I said, I got all this equipment to try to start going live more and be able to, just kind of tap in and help people to navigate right now. That's my desire too, is to help people to navigate as we experience certain things in, I guess, the natural world, and then be able to juxtapose it or compare it to what we experience in the supernatural world. Those are the type of things that I've worked with and worked, within our community with for a long, long time. Particularly coming from a family of spiritists as well. The things that I've grown up with, again, is nothing like you see in motion picture or comic books, comic strips, cartoons, things of that nature, motion picture when it comes to animation. A lot of that is just spookism. It's people on the outside that don't know what's going on in the inside, and they kind of share certain things. But I'm going to be honest with y'all. I like a good old show. I like to laugh at them and say, oh, that's what they think that we're doing, or, because since I know the truth. So I will never talk against motion picture, but their depiction of divine spirituality is really not what we do. It's not what's going on in this community. It's not what's going on since I've been a little girl with people all around me. I mean, thousands of people who are spiritists. That's not what we do. So I'm here to kind of share that, give some insight for that. So look for tomorrow's live. I said between 8 to 8:30 on Monday Central Time. We're going to put us a live out here. I want to have more, Q&A, FAQs, because we're ushering in, we're pioneering as well. We're ushering in a different knowledge base when it comes to divine spirituality and how it can work for you, those who are interested in it. So no more secret mystery schools for me. Everything that will be shared will be more of a public nature. Things that I feel that everyone can handle. I'm going to, of course, be discerning what I feel that the popular culture can handle. But I'm seeing promise in people. I'm seeing a lot of promise in people and the knowledge that they have. And that's just intuitively. So, I feel like, wow, when I hear people intuitively able to discern different things, and they didn't even have like the background like me or the family members or the godmothers or guardian mothers or anyone in the community, and they still know certain things. I just think that we need to just fine tune some things and share some stuff. And I'm going to say to you all too, this is very custom. This is not organized religion, what we practice at all. It is extremely custom. It is actually something that works for the actual, initiate, if you want to put it that way. Although this is not an initiation, a recruitment or initiation by any stretch of the imagination. It is more so information that we share here. And, I just want to make sure that people are knowledgeable about certain things that's done within spiritual communities like I am a part of, but then remembering that it is also very uniquely designed to each person and their original origin story. So it's about your origin story. It's about who you were meant to be in this particular world at this time in the physical experience, as well as your non-physical experience, or more so your supernatural experience. So there's the natural and then there's the supernatural. There's a physical and then some people say metaphysical. I was kind of, skirting around that word because, different ways that people experience things and they express it and the names they give it, it just depends on the person. Again, and that's where we're going now. We're going into sovereignty as well. We're going into a time where many things that we're experiencing, we're going to have to give it its own description based on our walk, based on who we are. That's why I have journals. I pretty much have a journal. Who we have here? Okay, Dr. Dre. Oh, what? Is it the Dr. Dre? Wouldn't that be something? But shout out to Dr. Dre, the one we know, the famous Dr. Dre, but I'm not sure who this is. But welcome, all are welcome. But I want to say I have journals everywhere, okay, because I like to journal my thoughts and then have discussions about it. So I'm going to suggest that each one obtain a journal, get a journal if you're not already doing that. Get you a journal so you can actually start putting down your child. Let's see. If you're a child, this is a topics that are of a mature nature. I'm gonna have to put that on this particular. I always have my disclaimer, but I just jumped in a live, y'all. Everything that's discussed here is of a spiritual nature. So if you are sensitive to that, it's not for a certain age range. So go ahead and make note of that here. My disclaimer will be coming, and want to make sure that those who are ready, those who are of age, that that you want to get your journals and be able to journal things that are your own personal walk, your own personal experiences, so that you'll be able to take note of your life and make sure that you are able to just basically put together the puzzle pieces and connect the dots for your life, because we're moving away from organized religion and spirituality. And those who are mature adults on here, those who are at least 18 and up, you're able to tap into your own spiritual connection. We can't speak to children about religion at all, or organized religion either, even old world religion, old time religion. We can't speak about that here on this platform. I want to make sure that I'm putting that disclaimer out there. But I will say this, for those who are a part of the community and the culture, it is only recently that we've had to kind of make these distinguishing comments, because of the fact that, we know that maybe some people who are not a part of this actual walk are in our midst. And but growing up, everybody was a part of it. If you come into the world, you're going to be a part of these discussions. But now we have to change some things, because we're no longer behind the walls of, I like to say, the castle. The castle walls. We're not behind the castle walls anymore, and we have a lot more people in the communities with us. So in other words, I like to say it's a community center as opposed to back at the house. I always make that distinction, because it's like some things you can talk about back at the house amongst kinfolk of the culture, but other things when we came into other arenas and another camp, I like to say in the other camp, now things have to be so, I don't know, really black and white, and for lack of a better way of putting it. It has to be black and white, and you have to be careful what you say. And I didn't really grow up like that, and we were just really well-rounded. I mean, maybe it's my opinion, but I feel like we were well-rounded and ready for the world, but now everything is so hush-hush and things like that. But I'm sensitive to it, and I get it, right? But now that we have MJ with the movie out, I feel that a lot of people are seeing into our world as it was. I want to say prior to 1964, 65, when we had to kind of transition into certain other communities, and now everything is, oh, be careful what you say, and things like that. That's not how we grew up. And when you see people like MJ, he came from the world that I came from, and we weren't into all that. Oh, the children are around, don't say nothing, and oh, dot your I's and cross your T's, and you get somebody like MJ out of a situation like that. So, hey, diamonds are made in the rough, and gold is treated with fire. And that's how we learned it. But I tell you, you know what? We'll be sensitive. We will be really sensitive. But the movie MJ, I have not seen it, y'all. I'm gonna be honest. I usually try to lay back a little bit, and then I'll go and give my critique of it. But the movie MJ, and I know it's not MJ, but there's a reason why I can't say his full name. But the movie, I hear the next gen went to see it. They said it was phenomenal. The music, and my understanding, it was mostly about the father involved. And there's different information out there. I like to hear from the person, so I don't really get into a whole bunch of stuff that's more so rumors. But in essence, I grew up in that particular time frame, and I would say that MJ was actually maybe about 8 years older than I am, something like that. But I was definitely a child. I guess anyone who was a child in the '70s can say where they were when they first heard ABC. I'm honest. I was actually visiting my favorite TT, my godmother, in Wisconsin, and I remember when it came on the radio, and they were like, "Did y'all hear this new song? Woo!" And we were like, "When I tell you, it wasn't a time or a party or anything going on, even backyard birthday parties like myself being born in the summertime, we would have that blasted constantly." And plus, it's being little boys that look like our community, and it was just everything. It was everything, and even watching the previews and a lot of the trailers for MJ's movie. I'm telling y'all, it just brought back. It was very nostalgic for me being a child of the '70s, growing up as a child in the '70s. It was very nostalgic. So I remember being a child then and asking my mama. I wanted what's called an afro. So a cultural fact is that the hairstyle, some people say hairdo, with a little bubble hairstyle, if you kind of look like this, that's called an afro. Some people call it a fro, and I'm just using this for the sphere or the roundness of it. Afro, a fro for short. And then it was also called the natural. The natural. I don't know if people know that. It was also called the natural. I wanted an afro so bad. What I tell y'all, but I was a little girl who had longer hair, and my mama kept on saying, "Child, I'm not gonna cut your hair off to do your hair like that. You can't get it out, but I'll make your hair natural." So she did a little natural hairstyle for me with my hair, and I happen to have a little kitty picture of myself. I don't know what happened to my hair. My mama would do my hair real good, and honey, baby, my hair would end up just being like whatever. By the time I got to the school for picture day, I know a lot of parents probably can definitely relate to that. Who little parents of little girls. I don't know what happened. It was picture day, and baby, my mama did my hair, and baby, I don't know what happened to it. But anyway, long story short, that was when MJ was out doing his thing, and honey, my hair was like this. It was long. She always put it with the little braids and stuff like that. And I wanted to have me a fro, honey. I imagine the fro probably would be out here. But anywho, I couldn't get the fro or whatever, or afro or natural. So she said, I did have natural. So she did a little part and just kind of let it just poof out and whatever it was. But anyway, long story short, but that time frame with MJ, and I'm saying MJ because I love his initials, because I saw his initials one time, and ever since I saw his signature, I was like, I let's call him MJ. And I want to talk about a soul signature versus a name, just your regular name. I feel that was his soul signature, and because I tap into divine spirit realm, I had I would say a connection with the divine spirit of the MJ spirit, and I just say the MJ spirit. And what he was showing me is that he wanted people to use his lyrics, which was more so tied to his soul, as opposed to using his name. And then also get you a sigil is what I had shared with me. And not only a sigil for MJ in his movie. Again, I tap into the divine spirit realm all the time. And what I was hearing him say is like, he wants people to use his lyrics to address him. And he also wants people to use his initials as MJ as well. So I thought that was amazing, and not necessarily the name that he was given. So I shade to that particular divine spirit, because he's definitely in the angelic realm, and I definitely do a lot with angelic energies, as far as like discerning and divining. So he's in the angelic realm. And he also wanted people to know that he wanted people to get a actual sigil, a personal sigil. And not that you're connecting necessarily with that entity. It's a connection with self when you come across a MJ, a divine spirit like an MJ who comes to the world to shift the atmosphere. It's not that you're necessarily tapping into that particular spirit in particular, but you're tapping into that resonance. Okay, so I need people to know that it's a resonant of an MJ. He was here with us and he represented himself within a physical body, but being a child of the 70s, I feel like that's some of the reasons why I can hear more so within that angelic realm. I do a lot with angelic energies, as well as the opposite side of that, because we just know that that's polarity. So it all works together. But definitely MJ wants y'all to use his soul, things that emanate from his soul. And we do a lot of soul work on this platform, the BMA platform. You'll see, now I've taken the books down because I had some changes to do with the books, but Rose Cross Matrix Sacred Soul Revival is my book series. I definitely want people to tap into that because it gets into how to connect with your own sacred soul. And that's why over the next few days, I want people to really be in tune with this platform because we have some different things to share regarding that. But as a child of the 70s, I know that resonance was there as I was in my more impressionable years, early years. And I was able to tap into that particular, that message, which MJ wants us to use his soul sigils, if you want to put it that way, his soul imprint that came into this dimension on this plane, which would be the words to his songs. So not necessarily to call him by name, but to actually go ahead and use his soul imprint as we do the sacred soul revival in this particular, at this particular point on the timeline. So, and then use the initials MJ. That's what I heard. Use the initials MJ. Also use his soul imprints, his signature, his words, as far as how to connect with that essence. An MJ essence, which was of love, of healing the world, and things of that nature. So that's important as well. And then also get your own sigil. It's important to get your own sigil for your own self, and then a world sigil as well. Something that the popular culture can see is in glean from. So this is one of my many journals. It is a mess, y'all, too. Because it's quite from back in the day, has some years on it. But when I talk about symbols and sigils, and I want to talk about this briefly, and I have to actually leave our live, but I'm thanking everyone who's come to be a part of this. But we're talking about sigils, we're talking about MJ, and me being able, as a high priestess, being able to tap into that realm and hear from the essence of that particular angelic being that came here to be amongst us, to be amongst the physical realm. And MJ, the movie, I hear was amazing. I did not get a chance to go because of other commitments, but I'm a child of the 70s, so just seeing the trailers alone helped me to kind of tap into many of the secret parts of myself that just, it was reminiscent and it was just amazing. So I'm just looking forward to seeing the actual movie so that I can kind of really deeply go into some more streaming from that angelic energy that would be of a MJ. Okay. So, but in essence, I heard some things to do with sigils, and I had to go and get this journal. And all of my journals, I always put, this one came apart because the glue just came apart. It's from years ago. But this particular journal, I did a lot of sigil work in it. And when I heard MJ say that he would prefer that we use his initial of MJ, and then also that we use his words, his lyrics as his soul imprint in this plane, in this realm, as far as connection to his essence, how he wanted to heal the world. And healing the world to him was more so not just for the time he was there, but for infinity, throughout infinity and beyond. So we could still tap into that desire that he had for healing the world. And it was just really profound. It was a very lighthearted spirit, like he was with when he was with us in the physical realm. And I heard him talk more about, or he shared more so within that spirit realm, that and that angelic energy shared about sigils. So I had to go find this particular journal, and it's a mess, y'all. So I'm gonna tell you that right now. But I always put my dates in my journals because it's, there's so many of them. But this one was from January '05 through August of '07. Okay, so did a lot of sigil work. So I want to share this because MJ was talking about his sigil. Oops, look at there, it came all the way apart. Blooper. But yeah, this is some sigil work that I did within this journal. And because of the fact that MJ was talking about the journal, the sigils rather, I thought to this journal, about this journal. Because of that, I did a lot of sigil work in this journal. And I just feel like that particular angelic spirit was able to, divine spirit was able to kind of tap right now and just say that the heal the world was not just for that particular time frame, but it was for moving forward as well. Okay. And then the sigil idea that was actually shared with me was that we have a sigil, just use sigils. And this journal came back to me when I had that contact with the essence of MJ. That this journal came to me because I did a lot of sigil work within this journal. So MJ wants us to have the sigil that even if we connect with him, his sigils would have been the words to his songs, even writing those sigils down for healing purposes, different songs. Like one of my favorite ones is Man in the Mirror. In this case, I'll say woman. It doesn't matter in the spirit realm. There's there's nothing about gender per se in the spirit realm, divine spirit realm. But that's what I was hearing when I had this streaming from MJ, is that, using sigils. And I love Man in the Mirror. That is my favorite one. I'm telling y'all, I can't hardly listen to the end of that one. When MJ started preaching at the end of that, I have had so many spiritual experiences where I go into a transcendental state and just start dancing and clapping and chanting and movement when MJ goes into that Man in the Mirror at the end. When he does that preaching part, I'm telling you, this is bringing us to that healing aspect that MJ wanted for us. So I use initials again because once I saw his initials on his album, I always use that, and I see that as his personal soul imprint, and that's what brought me back to this particular journal. And again, that just happened to be a crest. And then, y'all, this journal's so old. It's from, like I said, it's from January '05 to August of '07. But I had I was doing a lot of sigil work in this one. A lot of sigil work. And I made a crest at that time, a spiritual crest as well. But I also did one because I want to also bring up the artist. Now, we won't use his name that he had here when he was in physical body. We say the artist because his actual birth name was confiscated when he had to sign his soul over to another being and entities. So we won't even get too deeply into that. But I put a sigil, his sigil, which I want to talk about this briefly, y'all. What I think is so amazing is the fact, and y'all must get this. When you have an experience where someone is working to take your soul, and we've seen this in the movie Sinners. Okay, shout out to the Kuglers, Master Ryan. I always have to say this, Master Ryan Coogler and Mistress Zinzi Coogler, for their work that they did on the movie Sinners. But we see this entity at the door knocking and attempting to get in. Well, if something's trying to work with your soul or get your soul from you, you got to find a way to reconnect to it. Okay. So give me just a sec. Hold on. I need to do something. Sorry about that. Okay. But when something's trying to tap into your soul and get a hold of your soul, you have to find a way to reconnect with your soul. Okay. And what I think about with the artist, and we can't say his physical name. I don't say it anyway. I call him the artist because that's what he wanted to be called. And he had a symbol which is called a sigil as well, also called in the community a VV. Some people say VV, some people say vuvu, because it's like vuvu is like viewing the spirit realm. It means spirit, divine spirit realm. But I thought it was so important that I share what the artist did from a perspective of a high priest. And we must know that our artists, such as MJ, such as the artist, and when I say our singers, maybe put it that way, our singers, our entertainers, such as MJ, such as the artist, who was formerly known as his physical name, which they confiscated from him. He became the artist. What he did as a high priest, he then created himself a sigil. And people don't call it a sigil. People don't address it as such. But because I am a high priestess, I know that the artist, he created that symbol for himself, because in our practice, we have what are called soul vivis, or it's also called vuvu, which means view. Okay, so to view. When we put vuvu, we're going from a physical realm to a spiritual realm. So whenever you hear doubled up like that, like in gris or vuvu, huvu, things like that, it just means that you're talking about physical and spiritual. You're kind of you're taking it to the next dimension. So the artist created himself a sigil, which was his symbol, which is also called a seal within ancient text. And when I tell y'all, that was something that stayed a private practice for quite some time. But because MJ's movie came out, what I realize now is that much of this information must be shared. It simply must. I'm looking through here. This journal went on and on for quite some time. It's bigger pages. I thought that this was the journal that I actually drew the sigil, and I think it is in here for the artist. I don't quite see it now, but I'm going to find it. Let me put that down, that I'm going to get the sigil for our next meetup, which is the next live that we have. So I'm going to put the artist sigil. I'm going to find it because I wrote it myself, because I feel like I can share it, because that's a way to tap into those dimensions. Sigil, the artist. Okay, I want to put that down so I can remember that for our next live, which I have the live coming up on Monday, which is May 5th. I'm sorry, give me a second here. Yeah, May 4th, actually. Today is the 3rd, so May 4th, and we'll have a central time, 8 to 8:30. I'm going to give a live so that we can kind of go over some more things to do with the private practice and sacred secrets of our society. So we're talking about the artist, and I did some of my streaming that I did, divine streaming from the MJ essence. I kind of veer away from saying it's the actual person, because we want to leave them with their dignity, even in their rest. But we're talking about the essence of an MJ. Okay, so as I was speaking of that, I thought about the aspect of how we as priests and priestesses are able to use certain symbolism and certain connections with the divine spiritual realm, with the supernatural, to bring it into the physical or the natural, so that we can use that as our way to have a portal between the worlds and in our work. And I talked about the artist, and I know that he is fine with me sharing this, especially with MJ's movie coming out, that essence would be fine with me sharing this, of how he had an actual sigil, and the sigil was his symbol that he used. And it's a practice within the priestcraft. As a high priest, the artist, formerly known as, and I won't say his physical name, because that his soul, he had to sign his soul over in the physical realm, and so they took his physical name. So he started to use the artist symbol, because then that would be his soul sigil and his soul vuvu or veve. So be that as it may, no matter what happens, we as those who divine, those who work within these dimensions, we have ways of just protecting ourselves, especially our soul. So what he did was he regained his soul back through the sigil, through that particular symbolism. And it's also called a seal within the ancient text that we know of. So this was actually definitely a sigil or symbolism journal. I'm just trying to see what I can share with you here. I thought for sure that I had the artist symbol in here, and I don't see it. I don't see it. Here's something here. This is a journal. The pages have since become unglued, but that's a sigil I did in there too. Let's see. This is a journal from, as I said, January of 05 to August of 07. I'm watching my time because I got some things to do for the platform and other things. So I want to get my talks in here because we want to get more in touch with our folk out here. And hopefully y'all also the movie MJ. Let me see. I don't see anybody else on here. I don't see nobody else is commenting. But either way, I'm at my mark. Hopefully you'll be here for the live on tomorrow. It'll be Central Time, 8 to 8:30. So y'all look back. I don't have the exact time because this is actually some work I want to do. This is actually an impromptu for it to be on Moon Day. But I need to get my Moon Day live in because we're going to get our lives in so that we'll be able to discuss a lot of the things that are going on spiritually. And I'm really hoping that people will get on here with that conversation for me. Okay. I didn't see another sigil. I thought I had another sigil. This is not the journal that I think that I did the artist sigil in. But that was his own sigil to gain back his connection, his soul connection. He had to go through a whole other ceremony for that. This is obviously not the one, but if it is in here, I'll find it. It's just that I'm flipping fast, so I don't. Here's another sigil. That's another sigil that I did in here. Hopefully y'all can see that. Probably turn around, but I did that sigil too. All right, y'all. Well, it's been fun. I know I had some technical difficulties earlier, but I'm so glad that everyone stuck around and was able to, we're going to close us out, was able to connect. And I'm back with this movement for us to share. This is another journal that I have. I have all kinds of journals, y'all. I'm really showing this so y'all, I can actually encourage those out there that, that are part of this community to get your journals. And, it's also good to reflect on. And if you're going through something, I heard someone else say this. I'll just give a shout out to Miss Alice Walker. I don't know her, but in my mind, that's one of my godmothers. But she was saying that the reason why she loves her journals is she can go back if you're having some challenging times or even good times. You go back and look in your journal and it'll help you to see that times change and they go from season to season and reason to reason. And you just always remember that and know that you can kind of keep on moving forward. All right. So it is Sunday. And I know most people, I shade to you, you and you. Most of you are probably out doing your thing. But I just want to tell you that I'm here. I am back from a cyber attack and now those things are behind me and I'm so glad. So now we can kind of move forward and do a lot of things that we need to do in this era at this point on the timeline as well. May is a great month for that as well. So many things that we are needing to get done and to move forward with where we are at this point on the timeline. And let's do it together, y'all. All right. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow on the live chat from 8 to 8:30 Central Time with yours truly, High Priestess Maven. Enjoy your day and all the best to you in progress. And as always, just keep in touch with your own sacred soul. Sacred soul revival is the theme and topic that we're going forward on. And hopefully everyone who is a part of this platform in particular, and those all abroad as well, hopefully you'll be able to tap into your own sacred soul and your unique origin story. That's the theme of these days, y'all. All right. All the best to you in progress. I'm out of here for real, y'all. Okay. Take care.